All right, here we are on a rainy Monday, cold at the Crystal Clear Point Studio. And you know what? I have to tell everybody I lowered my camera so I'd be looking directly into it. But here's the side note. I had to move everything on my desk, and now I have these double speakers, and they were way back on my desk, but now they're further forward. And now it's like I'm in surround sound. So it's kind of cool.
So you can hear yourself better? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I could hear our music, so I was jamming to our
Oh,
music. It was so peppy. I don't know why that song makes me so happy. It's so corny, but I love it. You know.
Good.
So I'm Deborah Colleen Rose. With this is Miles to Smiles Events, and we're talking again. Watch out! And I have Dr. Matthew Pierce, and I have Luann Morris. So today we're talking about relationships, but we're talking about them in the capacity of if you have a business relationship and there also seems to be a personal connection, how do you handle conflicts in the business atmosphere? Take it away. Y'all go ahead.
take it away. Take it away.
Take it away. Take it
Well,
away. Well,
Take it
there are
away,
some
dude.
times that you wish you could take it away and then just not have to
yes.
deal with it. So, I mean, I don't know if that's appropriate to say, but I mean, I've had business relationships that, have worked. I've had business relationships that have just not worked. Some that were like very, very apparent, like right from the very beginning that, it was not going to work out. I've had business relationships that, we were in business for 4 or 5 years before we figured out this isn't the best way to be doing things. So, I mean, I've had all kinds of relationships. Some of them were friends, some of them were not necessarily friends, but it's like we were in business together because we had a mutual kind of goal or a mutual I don't want to say interest, but a mutual skill set that we could share. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's difficult with being friends and being in business, and then just, as a difference, like how do you maintain those boundaries in between the two?
Well, here's the question I want to put on the table for the panel. If you have a business relationship that also has a personal side to it as well, whether it be friendship, lover, spouse, whatever, and the relationship goes cattywampus on the personal side, are you able to maintain the business relationship and vice versa? Are you able to maintain the personal relationship if the business relationship goes cattywampus? Are we all mature, intelligent human beings that can separate the two concepts?
No.
No.
Yeah, that answer's hell no.
The answer is hell no. But um, I guess it was kind of mine was a friendship. And it was a long friendship, for friendships, it was 10 plus years. And I just really uh you know, I don't know how to explain it.
Just say it, spit it out.
Well, I felt a camaraderie, a certain amount of um the love like you would have for a sister or a brother.
That's
That
what I
kind
was
of,
going to say. You always refer to that person as your sister.
yes, yes, I did. And
Sisters,
so,
sisters.
and I was on the radio with her by invite. She invited me to come, her and her other partner that was I was invited. It was not a paid job. It was kind of a volunteer. But then there was a conflict with something happening totally outside of that I really got hurt over. And I was trying to like reconcile this hurt. And then she just blew up one night that I was doing something she didn't, that I was crossing a boundary. And I was like, what just happened? So in that circumstance, yes, the business arrangement and the friendship went down the drain because I saw it as a personal attack. as a slap in the face, as an assault almost, because she was so taken aback by I would do that. And I apologized immediately. I said that was not my intent. My intent was to be heard. And when I tried to talk to her about it a week later, she said, I stand by what I said. And I said, okay, that makes it clear then that we're done. And so I didn't go back. I didn't call her again. And if the intent was different as far as maybe what you would consider the business, I would think that she would contact me. But
So
there
you
has,
left the door open for there to be future contact, but that you didn't step through the door and she didn't step through the door.
correct. I went on Facebook and said that, Herbal Lou would no longer be on radio, and that Luann would no longer be on radio, that I was going to spend more time with my herbal business, and that I wished this radio station the best. And that's how I ended it.
Da-da-da, it's done. Yeah. And so
I
there's been no interaction at that point, after that
no,
point.
no.
Okay.
So I had to assume, you know what assuming means. Sometimes
Yeah.
it can make an ass out of me and you, but if she had called me and said, I don't want the friendship to be over, I just want you off the radio. And I said, well, you could have just said, there's too much tension. You need to move along. and we need to just go back to the friendship. But it was not like that. And so I moved forward to do other things like Miles of Smiles and
Like this.
gigs on the side, and this. And it's okay. It took a while to figure out exactly what happened and how I feel about it. So
Okay. So your story reminds me of a situation I had years ago. And my relationship started out as a business relationship with this person. And then we got to be good friends through the course of working together. And then the business relationship got cattywampus because we started going in different directions with the business. And I'm not a patient person. I'm the first one to admit that. I like to say what's wrong and you understand what's wrong. So what the hell's the problem? Let's get it fixed. And things were not going smoothly. So I was like Solomon in the Bible. I said, we're just going to cut this baby in half. And here's your half and here's my half. And that's kind of what happened. And we went our merry ways. And um, I really was shocked at how much I grieved over the loss of the personal relationship. I was so relieved from the business standpoint for a while that it took me several months to realize, but I really missed that person personally.
mm-hmm.
And then I ran into him years later and it was like everything was cool and copacetic. They didn't give me any attitude. I was thrilled to see them. We chatted for a while. We've reconnected, but we've not bonded back in our, old relationship, but at least I know, or it seems like there's no animosity on their part, so I'm thrilled to know that. But now I think being older and I'm not so sure wiser, but at least I'm open to ideas, is that why didn't I reach out and say, hey, you know what? You sucked at this. And I'm not sorry about the decision I made on the business, but is there any way we can sustain the friendship? Because I really think you're a great person, And I'm like, because that's really not like me. I'm usually one that puts everything out there and have all my life. And I'm so mad at myself on a certain level that I didn't do that. But, it is what it is. And I just
well,
wonder
I
how
can
many
see
people live like that.
I can see after a cooling off period, maybe, then call.
Call me.
Yeah.
I'm
I
all
mean,
full of
but
songs today.
I'm a people pleaser. I mean, I'll be the first person to admit that, you know. And so when it comes to kind of defining that separation of like what's business is business and what's friendship is friendship, sometimes like I get invested in both. And so it's very difficult for me to say, you know, as a friend, you're a great friend. As a business partner, not so much, you know.
You're saying
And
that is
so
hard for you to say that?
it is hard for me to say that. It really is. You know, but when it gets to the point that I actually think I need to say that, you know, there's almost no coming back. It's like, no, something needs to be done, something needs to be said because, you know, it's not working. The relationship isn't working in some way, shape, or fashion, you know. You know, I've had business partners that it's like their true colors like came out. You know, they act one way to me, you know, as a person and, you know, and incredibly sweet or, you know, they're very, very, you know, kind. But then from a business perspective, it just all of a sudden changes and they become cutthroat and, you know, it's just like, nope, you're doing this incorrectly, you're doing this wrong, you know, so therefore I'm going to take over. You don't have any say so in it, you know. And, you know, so I've had relationships like that, you know, before. I have a relationship that is like currently in a state of flux, you know. It's like the business isn't exactly where I want it to be. And you know, so my decision was I kind of have to walk away. I have to walk away because, you know, the whole purpose for me to be in business is for the business to take care of me, not to show how much money I have in the bank account so I can flaunt it around and say, "Hey, look, this is what I did this month." No. Okay? I mean, it's like it has to take care of me. Otherwise, why am I doing the business?
Exactly.
Why am I putting my heart and soul into this?
Well, and here's something that I've never heard anyone talk about or explain. So I'm going to try and do this. I get accused by people that think that they know me, which they don't, that I'm controlling because I'm very forceful, I'm very assertive, I'm very definitive in my ideas. I know what I want, but I also know what I need. And so for me, I'm a strong person. That does not mean that I don't have foibles. Okay.
Mm.
My foible is that I get anxious when I have things to do and they're not done. So I come across as controlling because I push people to get their shit done so I can get my shit done and not have it hanging over my head. Controlling does not to do that does not mean I'm trying to control them. What it means is I'm trying to keep my anxiety low and get a job done so I can go on with my life. Because I never wake up that I don't have a to-do list. There's
Right.
always a to-do list. And I cannot relax until my to-do list is done. So I'm overachieving. I have a little OCD. And this is all self-diagnosis shit, but it's just those terms are easy to use so people understand what you're talking about. Okay. So I can't relax is the bottom line if I have things over my head. That is not the same as controlling. It's just not. I'm trying to manufacture a safe environment so I can relax. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in business, you have to have some sort of focus. Okay. I mean, when you're dealing with multiple clients, I mean, you have to have that list. You have to have that accountability. You have to have, okay, this is what I'm expecting you to take care of because I don't have the bandwidth to take care of those things, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
So it's like, in my mind, it keeps me sane, you know, to be able to have that list. Okay. Um, but it drives me nuts to, you know, have a business partner that says, "Hey, I will take care of X, Y, Z," and it never shows up.
Okay, so from that perspective, I would like to say that from this point forward, or last week point forward, Deborah is going to say, I need you to do 2 canvas like this. I need it in 24 hours,
Yes.
or I need
Yes.
it in 6 hours, or can you
Yes.
do
Because I
this?
really fucked up this weekend. Let me tell you. Let me
Because
tell you what I No, I get, it's my fuck up. I get to tell it. If I'm going to own it, I'm going to tell it. All right.
Okay, tell it.
Hey, I'm kind of cute. I look like Spanky in our gang today, don't I?
Something.
But so anyway, Luann is always so helpful and so gracious to help me. And she rarely tells me no when I need her help. And Luann has a lot of talents that I don't have. And she also has the patience to do things I don't have the patience to do. So I'm really conscientious and try to be conscientious not to ask her to do things and do too much. I really am conscientious about that. And I sometimes feel like I step over that line at times. But anyway, I asked her to do a graphic for me. Two graphics, right? Two graphics the other day. And then I started getting pressure from an outside source because the graphics were for another organization. And I was getting bombarded. Boom, 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 boom.
But I didn't
And
know she was getting bombarded.
no, no. And so, and I have here's another weakness I have. I have these conversations in my head. And sometimes I don't realize I have not included the other person in the conversation.
Been there.
Which and it sounds like a really crappy excuse, so I don't bring it up because it is crappy sounding. But sometimes I think I have done something or said something to someone and I have not, which is why I try to document everything with notes or whatever. So anyway, I was at a point where I was very frustrated. I wanted to go to dinner with my husband. I wanted to go to the movies. I wanted the text messages to stop. I wanted all communication to stop. And I'm like, I can do this. And I went and did the two graphics because they were very simple. And I got them done and uploaded. And in my mind, I swear to God, I texted Luann and said, I did them, but I did
She
not.
did. She did text me and say she did them.
Oh, I did?
She did text me and say she did them. And I
Oh, then what
thought,
the fuck are you mad about?
because all of a sudden you wanted me to do them, and 6 hours later I did them. Okay, then why did you ask me?
Well, because circumstances in my life change from moment to moment.
So it was not the fact that it was the fact that at 10 o'clock at night she told me I did these, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, all right, fine.
So
But
I should have done one or two things. I should have said, fuck it, I'm not doing them. They'll just have to wait. Or two, I should have called Luann and said, look, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Is this a problem or have you already started them?
Right.
yes.
Okay. So which brings us to another point. There's just some things you should not do in an email or text message.
Well, because you can't, because I had no idea you were getting pressure from someone else.
No, and then she felt bad for me when I told her how much
Yeah,
pressure.
because just explain it to me. Because when it happened, I thought, oh, okay, which was a little uncharacteristic of her. So I didn't call her at 10 o'clock at night and say, you bitch.
What are you doing?
Well, you should have. I would have.
But I waited till the next day to say, okay, what's going on? And if you ask me to do something,
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, 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 no. That's not what she did exactly. She used my own words against me. She called me.
Oh
She goes,
no, she did a fuck you, Deborah.
yes.
Oh my gosh. Luann, she
Yeah.
did me the same way yesterday, so it's okay.
I got to fuck you, Deborah, from both of y'all this weekend. But Matthew, yours was not justified. You were just mad because I made you look at yourself. Luann's
Oh
was
yeah.
justified.
No, you're absolutely right, but I still have the right to say fuck you, Deborah.
Well, sure you do. And I have the right to laugh
so,
at you.
so exactly what did I say?
It was basically, I'm using my new communication skills that I have learned and I'm putting them to practice, which is basically saying, you told me to say this shit, and now you're going to hear it.
Good for you, Luann. Good for you.
I did say that.
Yeah. So my only concern is I am not a people pleaser, but at the same time, I don't like things hanging over my head. So I like to get things done. And two, I do not like to hurt my friends' feelings or make them to feel undervalued. So that causes me great distress if I think that has happened.
Well,
So
I
I
think
can handle Luann being mad at me, but I cannot handle her carrying it into the future
no.
and it damaging our relationship. That I can handle. So,
And that's why talking helps.
yes.
That's why the proper communication. But I actually, when you texted me and said, I did these, I thought, well, that's odd. Something must have happened. So I didn't exactly get that anger to the point that I thought, well, just I won't do anything for her anymore. It was
Well,
not like that.
you didn't sound angry when I talked to you Saturday. Honestly, the tone of your voice sounded like, oh, I'm getting to cram it up her ass for a change. That's what it sounded like.
Well, it was a little of that. A little of that. It was a little of, all right, Deborah, what did you do? What's going on? Speak
So,
your
yeah,
mind. But that's right. So
yeah. So
yeah,
Matthew's getting a T-shirt printed up.
Yep.
Tell him.
what's your T-shirt say?
Fuck you, Deborah.
Because he's
Because
texting me.
I'm gonna hand it to people when they're having those moments that they're just so like, oh my God, what what what? You
So
know?
now it's going to
And
be a generic thing.
well,
Oh,
so the terminology "fuck you, Deborah." I mean, I'm just gonna be using it to my friends and family and everybody else like that. Fuck you, Deborah.
you know what that really means, okay? Just so I can make sure everyone understands what it really means is, oh my God, Deborah, you're so right. Thank you for pointing that out to me.
Thank
It's
you
like,
for making me feel horrible about myself. I appreciate it so.
well, I mean, but it was a significant realization. I mean, it really was a significant realization, and it's like, I saw myself in what I was doing in the situation I had put myself in. And when Deborah and I had talked about it, I kind of danced around the subject and danced around the subject until finally she hit on something and I went, oh my God, oh my God, which made all the difference in the world, and it kind of changed the perspective in a good way. But it's just like, ah, damn it. Like I couldn't do it myself. I had to have someone else, like
Don't you hate it when that happens?
put it
Yeah,
over
do I
my
get
own
a
face.
thank you, Deborah?
I need
Oh,
a
that was
3X.
wonderful, Deborah.
Okay, 3X,
It's
you got
thank
it.
you,
3X.
Deborah.
Fuck you, Deborah. Yeah, I don't want to say thank you, so I'm gonna be like, fuck you, Deborah.
It's a good thing I don't get my feelings hurt easily. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Well, see, I would enjoy seeing someone wearing a "fuck you, Matthew." I mean, I'd be like, sorry.
Okay, fine.
Well, that's why I loved it when my clients used to wear those little bracelets like the, what would Jesus say or whatever those things. There was one is like, what would Deborah say? Because
Yeah, what
I'd
would Deborah
always tell
do?
my clients, I'm like, you know what? I am just calling bullshit on that. That's not true. And it got to be where I guess I was saying that like every other sentence with a couple of my clients because they all got together at a little networking meeting we had and they started comparing notes. She goes, does she say that to you? Yeah, she says that to me. And they went out and they had little bracelets printed up. They were
I
very
call
committed to
BS.
that. I call BS on that. My other favorite one is go sell it on the street because I'm not buying that shit.
Yep. Well,
Oh my God. We went down
but I
another
mean,
rabbit.
so I guess I had to ask, how do you bounce back? I mean, if you can,
Well, what do you mean by bounce back? Do you mean repair the
well,
relationship? Get over
can you
not being
repair the
hurt?
friendship? I mean, is it really possible to repair the friendship? If the business goes south, is it possible? I mean, but to me, I kind of have to look like, well, why did the business relationship, you know, go to pot anyway?
Well,
I'm trying to
Because
think if I've ever had one totally repaired and I haven't. There's always been a damage, like a
yeah,
ding or a hole in the wall or something. But I'm going to be frank instead of Deborah. I'm going to be frank. The relationships that I'm thinking of in my head, there's no animosity on my part, and we could be totally back to normal. There's a grudge from the other person. There's animosity. I mean, when they criticize everything you say or do, or they try to find things that you're doing that are wrong, or they go, well, I'm not surprised that didn't work, or whatever. That's not someone that's being loving and supportive. So the issue's on their back, not mine.
Right.
Well,
So
I did have a problem at first supporting my friend with her other activity. And I finally got straight about that and was jumping in to support however I could. Do you want me to take pictures? Do you want me to be a gopher? Do you need me to, I'll be glad to do that. And I did. I got my feelings hurt. Um, I didn't really express how I got my feelings hurt. Um, and that's a part of my problem, the communication. I didn't communicate. But I decided that, this is my friend and I have another acquaintance that's doing this too. And so let's jump in and help out. Let's be supportive. And so about the time I was coming back to my get over it, is when the other incident happened. And so I'm feeling that even a certain amount of trust was damaged, and when you damage trust, that's when you can't really get it back to where it was.
Yeah.
well, can I interject, please?
Mm-hmm.
Not addressing this particular situation, but I do think it's pertinent. I think a lot of times these breakups, though, bring to light the gaps and the holes that were there in the relationship to begin with, that you either chose to ignore or you were not forced to deal with because you were too busy putting out fires and things like that. Because having knowledge of what you're talking about, Luann, there were a lot of warning signs about the holes in that relationship months, and I do mean months, before all this came to a head.
But like you say, sometimes it's about giving the other person grace because they're in your life,
Yeah.
because you consider them a friend. And so you give them a certain amount of grace, a certain amount of, okay, I'm not happy about that, but it's not like earth shattering. So let's let that go.
So where's the line at for grace? Because this is where it gets to be such a slippery slope. Am I giving them grace, or am I letting them become a toxic relationship? Am I letting them be who they are and seeing them for all of their flaws, or are they just be fucking mean to me?
Right.
Where do you decide you're now out of one area and move through the gray area and you're now on the other side of the fence? How do you decide that? That's where people get into trouble.
Well, okay. So my situation, okay, is that, I was in that kind of that gray area, and I was trying to figure out how to make it work and how to, be the best person and, give them grace, so on and so forth. And through the process of, having, different discussions with different people, it's just like, well, Matthew, you're doing the same thing that you've always done. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna keep on giving grace until it just explodes. So you have a choice. You can either take and say, okay, grace has been extended and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have to take the next steps, or just let it explode. Well, I've had some, partnerships that I've had to say, yeah, it's not working for me. You know, you're kind of hindering me, you're kind of holding me back. So we have to part ways. We have to go our separate ways. I'm sorry. You know,
Well, and is there a difference for you though, Matthew, in how much crap you take in a personal relationship versus how much you'll take in a business relationship, or is it the same measuring stick?
it's not necessarily the same measuring stick, but I'm a very analytical person. So from a business standpoint, okay, I will never say, hey, you're not doing your job unless I can say, hey, you're not doing your job. This is where I got this from. Okay. So, I mean, the distinction is like, I'm not going to point my finger at someone that is like uh, doing something that just might be their personality and say, no, you need to change that. That I'll give them grace because that's them. That's how they react to the world. That's how they have, protected themselves, whatever else like that. But inside of business, you can't tell me, well, I didn't do this or that because of blah, 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 blah. I'm like, sorry, it's out there. And if you don't want to be accountable inside a business, okay, there's accountability is one thing for business, but accountability for a friendship is completely and totally different.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
agree. I
and
agree.
so, I mean, I blurred the edges on that one so many times.
My thing is that I will take crap until I'm bleeding to death in a personal relationship. And a lot of that's because a lot of things that bug other people don't bug me
Mm,
because I'm so self-contained in my identity, in my own, how I perceive things and my own measuring stick and stuff. And, and I'm just now getting to a point where people say they're being mean to you. I'm like, really? I didn't notice, you know, but in business, I am cutthroat. You fuck with my money, oh my God. And so where I can have like 1,000 meters of grace in a personal relationship, there's only 1 meter in business. So I'm like totally opposite in my expectations and what I will compromise on.
mm,
And I think that I failed to communicate the times that I was hurt, which I should have said, you know, I'm going to let this slide, but this really hurt my feelings.
yeah.
And perhaps that's where the shock comes in later because you don't express that hurt or disappointment. And so when it finally comes to a head, you're like, I don't have to do this.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And the other
Mm-hmm.
person can't quite figure out why. And that's why, because you've hurt my feelings too many times.
Okay, so that brings up an interesting question for me. Is that so when you come to a realization that there was a lot of things that you let roll off your skin that really bother you, we have all these things that we talk about getting closure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of those work, frankly, for the most part. Like, write the person a letter and then, burn it or,
Right.
sit down and make a list or, maybe even calling them and seeing if they'll have a conversation. What does that really achieve? I don't get it.
Closure is only for self-satisfaction.
Yeah.
That's it. It's for self-satisfaction. Okay. It's a way for you to be able to be, and forgive me for saying this, it's a way for you to be arrogant and say, well, I did my part. Okay.
Exactly.
I'm going to forgive and forget. Look what kind of person I am. Okay. There are relationships that you can't have closure. Period. End of story. You can't do it. Okay. You just have to say next. Don't bring it up again. It's not worth it. It's not worth taking and putting energy into trying to make closure when, especially when the other person isn't willing to meet you halfway.
I mean,
Period.
if
End
they're
of
willing
story.
to
It's
meet
not
you
good.
halfway, you wouldn't have to have closure. You'd still have the relationship,
Yeah.
you know? And if you don't have the relationship, if you go and talk to them or confront them or argue with them or any of those things, why do you even think that they're going to be honest with you about it? Because they're probably not even being honest with themselves. They're probably sitting there going, oh, they were a bitch. They did this and I was
Right.
justified in this. If I heard the word justified in coach, if I had a dime for every time I heard the word justified when I was coaching someone, oh my God. Everyone thinks they're justified to be mean. They're justified to do this. They're justified to do that. If you have to justify why you're doing it, you shouldn't be doing it, period.
Mm. Well, my definition of closure is coming to the acceptance of what's apparent, what's there. You did me wrong for X, Y, Z. Okay, that's it.
It is what it
Kind of like
is.
this,
It,
kind of like the serenity prayer,
yeah,
exactly.
exactly. I mean, what good is it going to do to keep on going out there and seeking closure? Especially, I mean, is it going to be controlled by that other person? Is the closure really like, is it within your reach? Is it within your grasp?
It's like you're going to the person that just beat you up and you're saying, "Oh, will you please put a Band-Aid on me and make me feel better?"
Yeah.
And you really expect them not to beat you up again? Really? Give me a break.
Or mock you, or like actually do like more damage, you
Or
know?
point their finger and say, this is your fault. You ended
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Well, but
deserved it.
but I'm not saying that like that closure isn't asking for forgiveness. If you know that you've done something wrong, hey, I'm sorry. Okay. But closure comes when it's like either A, you accept it, that it's not going to change. Okay, it's not going to make a difference in the relationship. Or B, okay, that other person says, I forgive you. Now let's get on with life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and I I I didn't get a I forgive you. I get a okay. Is that a forgiveness?
I don't even know what
When
that means. Okay. I don't even know what that means in
when
a
you say I'm
conversation.
sorry and the other person says I forgive doesn't say I forgive you. They just
Yeah.
okay. Is that
And when someone
forgiveness?
says okay to me, I'm like, okay, what do you mean by okay? Does that mean okay, you're still going to be a bitch? Okay, we're going to be friends again. What is that? I need a statement behind those two
Uh-huh.
letters. You know
Yep.
what? So that's one of the reasons why people get mad at me is because I call them out on their shit. Oh, that's that fuck you Deborah shirt, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I mean, and I completely get that when you're saying that someone answers you back, okay.
Okay.
Oh, so uh, you're okay with the situation now? You're okay with me? You're okay with what happened? You're okay just because you're okay? I mean, what is
You're
it?
okay because I apologized and
Yeah.
you know.
It's like, okay, so was
I'm
the
okay,
apology
but you're not
accepted?
okay, and that's why we're having this argument.
So, but yeah, I mean, and I'm guilty of that too, because there's some conversations that are just uncomfortable, and I want to cut the conversation off as fast as possible. So the best thing to do is short answer. Okay.
I have two ways I end conversations where like this. I'm sorry, I did this. Are we all right? Or, I'm sorry I did this, but I don't want to be your friend anymore. But thanks for bringing that to my attention. I mean, I either want the friendship or I don't. And I make sure that's really clear in my conversation with people,
Yeah.
you know?
She says, "Are we good?" I said, "We're good."
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to know. I mean, otherwise, what was the point of going through this stupid conversation just so you could beat me up and I could feel like
Right.
shit and you're not even gonna give me a chance to show you I can do better and that I value you because that's what you're saying. Value my time, value my efforts, value my concern, and don't blow it off by acting like it doesn't matter to you. That's exactly what Luann was saying to me. I'm not stupid. I got that.
Yeah.
It just absolutely hurts me to think that I might have devalued her, even if it was for 6 hours, because
Mhm.
that's never my intent in my relationships, ever, ever, ever. So I can't make that go away, but I can make a conscientious effort to not do that again. And that's my commitment
And
in
because of the conversations that Deborah and I've had in the past, I know or I suspected that something else was going on.
Right.
So it was like a what the hell? Okay,
Yeah,
so
but Luann, to your credit, you didn't take it as like, oh, I'm being personally attacked. Fuck you. No, you didn't
yeah,
take it that way.
no.
You're like, okay, wait a second. This is out of character.
Hmm.
So there's something else that's happening, something else going on. You are at least responsible, like in your thinking, okay? Whereas I have people in my life that's not the case. It's they jump to the conclusion that's the way it is, okay? And then they will try to take and turn it around to be like all about them, you
Mm.
know? It's like
Hmm.
oh, well, you're saying this because blah 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 blah, and you feel that I blah 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 blah, and well, that means that I have to blah blah blah, and I'm like,
No.
I mean, it's worse in business. It's worse in business because, you know, unfortunately, there's boundaries that you have to follow in business, you know? I mean, if you're not getting the thing out of your business that you need to get out of your business and your partner is holding you back, that's a problem.
yeah, but you know what I think is the biggest problem in business, and this is coming from someone who has been self-employed since she was 19.
Mhm.
However, I do have to do politics with clients. So it's not like I don't have any experience with political relationship dynamics. We're so adamant about not showing emotions in the workplace. Why can't I know you shouldn't be screaming at people and cussing at people and
Oh,
stuff like that, but why can't you say, you know what? I really thought this is what I was supposed to be doing, and I put a lot of effort into this, and I really feel underappreciated. The other side, and I've had this conversation several times in the past couple of years. If I'm not a good match for this job or for you as a vendor or blah, 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 I need to walk away from this
Right.
because not everybody's a good match for everybody else. And in fact, I had that conversation last year with a group. I joined a group, and then 5 seconds after they cashed my check, I was like, I'm not a good match for this group. And I had real good reason to say that. And I called them and said, we're not a match and I need my money back. And we had to have several conversations, and it was basically bottom line. You can either give me my money back or you can get 10 times that amount of money in negative reviews. Because we're not a good match, but now you're pissing me off. So I did get my money back. That was good. That was good.
That's always a good thing to get your money back. You're not a good match.
Yeah, but how many people say that? How many people say, you know what, this isn't working for me is one thing, but to say, you know what, this is you and here I am, and we're in different cars on different highways going different directions. Let's not do this to each other, So I don't think people are transparent enough, honest enough, and direct enough. I think direct is a key to all of this, being very direct. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think in business you have to be direct
You have to be.
A lot of people are not, though. They're just not. And they sit and they wait for someone to recognize they're doing a good job. I have no problem telling people I did a great job. And then whether you appreciate it or not, I know I did a great job. I kept your ass out of jail. I saved you $1 million on your lawsuit. You know what? If you don't appreciate that, I can't help it. I know I did a good job,
No, at least you can point to it and say, well, no, the reason I'm saying that is.
Yeah. And I also have no problem saying, you know what, I put 30 hours into this. I did the best I could. If it's not what you want, then I'm not a good match. Sorry, because this is the best I can do.
Right.
I'm good at what I do because I choose to do it. I don't do things I'm not good at. That's why I look so good all the time.
If I know I'm not good at it, I don't do it.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I don't, you know what, if I hear something I have found out, if I'm not good at it, I usually don't like doing it. So
Yeah,
I just don't.
I get that.
I don't understand doing things you're not good at. Why would you do that to yourself? That's got to be a beating.
Well, sometimes you have to be able to admit you're not good at that. Some people don't want to admit that they're not good at something. They'll just try to continue going, fake it until they make it.
Well, how about this example, Matthew?
She's got that face.
He and I were talking about my rebranding. And he gave me a price for doing the logo and changing the labels. And I was like, I can do this, but he's good at it. And you just have to finally say, yes, I want to do that because I can do it, but then it takes me 3 times as long and he's good at it. Why should I do it?
Exactly.
And I offered. So,
and if he's doing that, how many bottles of elderberry syrup can you be making while he's doing that? Because you're not having it, which is what you're good at, and you make money at it.
So we did have a conversation in a group of mine that said, if there's something you need done and you're not good at it, hire it done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
The minute we struck the deal, I was like, oh, I feel better now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, I understand that. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm having to do things I'm not good at. And to add the cherry to my frustration pie, I had someone lined up to do the things that I'm not good at, to do them for this situation. And it went cattywampus for a lot of reasons. So that every time I'm doing something and it's frustrating me, I'm like, I don't have to be doing this, damn it. If people had just done what I asked them to do, this would already been done, damn it. And I'm
because
pounding
there's someone that knows how to do it in less time than I do.
And I'm pounding the hell out of my keys, and now I have calluses on my fingertips because I've been hitting the keyboard so hard. And so it is what it is.
I have always been one of those people that, yes, I like to work hard. I like to work hard. Okay. It gives me a sense of joy. It gives me a sense of accomplishment. Okay. But I don't like to work stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so if there's something that I can automate, if there's something that I can like take and use my knowledge to do, you know, I'd like to do it. I mean, Deborah, you gave me a list of like 100 things that you needed to accomplish for something that you were doing. Okay. And I looked through it, I'm going, 98% of this can be automated.
Yes. But do I know how
Okay.
to do that? No.
No,
Do I have
but
the
the thing,
authority to make you do it right now? No.
no, but okay. The fact of the matter is that people sometimes look at their list of things to do and go, oh my God, I have to do this.
Mm-mm.
No, you don't. Okay.
You know what the
Right.
I
best
mean, if you,
example of that is? Do you know what the best example of the invention of the personal vibrator for women?
mm, isn't that when marriage like actually like when like it tanked or something like that?
Well, it did for my first marriage.
There's a statistic behind that. I know there is. I know there's a statistic there.
Yes, and
It was
on her audio biography, we will be talking about her marriages this next time.
oh yeah, there's so
Dun
much
dun
to
dun.
cover. So much ground to cover. I, I'm going to tell you what I told Matthew, though. I have to tell you this. I have to. I don't want to. Yeah, I did. So anyway, he goes, you know what I'm going to say to you, Deborah? Fuck you, Deborah. And I said, well, I would enjoy it, but you wouldn't.
I'm like, yeah, that poodle's
About
barking up
that.
the wrong tree.
Oh, come on. If you can't laugh, what's the point?
Oh, I
You have
laughed.
you have made Matthew's face red.
I know. I know. Oh God, it really is. Go check your blood pressure. I'm worried.
I'm good.
You
It'll
are
come. It'll
really
come. It'll
red.
come. It'll come back. It'll come back.
You
It'll
know
come
what?
back.
That's kind of cool though. When a straight woman can make a gay man blush, that's a talent.
He
That is a
wasn't
talent.
expecting it.
I
That's a
don't.
huge.
I don't embarrass easily. I mean, that wasn't embarrassing to me, but apparently my face says otherwise. So I guess we'll just go with that.
Well, he just doesn't want to admit I'm his fantasy girl.
Yeah, that's what it is, Luann.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So
Oh, and I do not drink during the day. I don't know why I have so much fun in the middle of the day.
I think I
have you
need to
been
start drinking in
drinking?
the middle of the day.
You know, we did that before on our old podcast, Matthew. We could bring that back. We used to call them Tipsy Techno Tuesdays.
Tipsy
And
Techno Tuesdays.
yeah, and because I used to have technology problems doing the podcast, and they seemed to go better when we drank on Tuesdays. So we would all
More
have an adult
relaxed.
beverage.
More relaxed.
I think we just didn't give a shit anymore. It's just, whatever. We're not getting
Well,
paid for this. Who cares?
we're not getting paid for this, but there's a satisfaction that comes with it. I mean,
Oh
really,
my
there is a
God. I
satisfaction. I
love
mean,
doing it.
I think that more and more people are starting to watch, the podcast, which I think
Mhm.
is awesome. I think it's great, but I've had people say that y'all are just so positive, you know, and it's like you work well together
Yes.
and you, even though you're down a rabbit hole, like it seems that you always get the point across and, things like that. So to me, that makes me happy. I mean,
Makes
to hear
me
that kind of
happy.
stuff makes me happy.
And whoever told Matthew I needed to move my camera, thank you. I rearranged my whole desk today. I can't find anything, but the camera now is, I barely have to look up to see the camera because it's on top of a big TV screen. And I realized the crick in my neck is going away.
So, but
So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. I appreciate that person also because I've been saying it, saying it, saying it, and it's like it's fine.
it's fine.
Well, it
It's
took me a while
fine.
to figure it out. So anyway, all right. So do we have any closing thoughts or profound statements to share with people to kind of wrap this up?
I actually do. Because if you're not willing to take action, okay, nothing's ever going to change.
Bravo.
And if you're
Bravo.
not willing to communicate when things are not right in a positive way, like we always do in a positive way. You have to communicate when things don't go well, or when your feelings are hurt, or when the trajectory is not what you expect.
And I have two things to add. Two. I got confused by my own camera. One, not everything is about you.
Right.
So ask some questions. And two, nobody's going to give a damn when you're dead about any of this drama. So put it in its perspective. That was it. That's all I had to say.
Okay.
That's definitely a perspective.
I think all of that is good advice.
All right.
Me too.
So Dr. Pierce, you want to listen to my hot? No, go ahead, Dr. Pierce. Tell us how to get a hold of you.
I'm not that kind of doctor. Anyway, you can look me up at matthewapierce.com or matthew@matthewapierce.com.
Lou, how's your branding coming? Are you up yet on anything?
Almost. I have some stuff to show her, so.
Okay, so we're almost, but we do have a name. Ancient Herbal Apothecary. Damn it. Ancient
Damn, it's
Herbal
not part of the
Apothecary.
name. Damn, it's not
Oh.
part of the no.
AncientHerbalApothecary.com will be the name. The website is not out yet, but you can contact me at herballu1105@gmail.com.
Okay, I'm gonna put a shameless plug in real quick. So we're sponsored by the company Miles of Smiles Events. We're an interactive and intuitive entertainment company. So we go and do readings and things like that at parties. All right. So we have a new service called Rock Hound Readings, where we actually do readings for your pet using animal totem cards, and they get to pick a rock, and you get to take that rock with you as well. And that has been a huge success. And Luann and I just came up with a great new service that we're working on called Wickapoo Totems. So you've heard
Show.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, good. So it's not quite finished, but it's the opposite of a voodoo doll. It's like a vision board in a rag doll.
I
You
love
get
that.
you get to make your doll. We stuff it with a stone that has certain energy levels like love or finances or whatever. And then you can draw a little face on it, and you can put some hair on it with yarn or whatever. And then you write all the words of the things that you want as part of your future for 2024, like more love, more money, that type of thing. So it's Wickapoo Totems, and it's ancestor blessing dolls. What?
Hickapoo.
What did I say?
Wickapoo.
No, it's Wickapoo, like the Native American tribe, Wickapoo. Wickipoo. It's Wickapoo.
Okay.
I don't know where you
I
got Hickapoo.
misunderstood.
I've heard it
Hickapoo.
both ways now, so I'm kind of confused. So I'll allow you all to discuss.
We will, and we will.
Yes, we'll figure it out. Anyway, so just some new services to be looking for. Of course, we do the cards, and we do kiss readings, and we do handwriting analysis. And frankly, we can do readings off of anything. Just call me and we'll make it work. What are you waving at?
Palm readings.
Palm. Oh, yeah. Let me talk about that for real quick. Just a minute. Matthew is our official palmist. I will never read palms again because I'm just embarrassed to do it compared to him. Matthew has studied with a man from India. Do we call him a guru? Can we call him?
He's a doctor. I mean, he's not necessarily a guru, but I mean, people seek him out.
Okay, well, he's smart. Okay, he's a smart
He's very
man.
smart.
And so Matthew studied with him, and he came up with this idea that I just think, oh my gosh, it gives me orgasms just to think about it. So he takes a picture of the palm with his iPad, and then he makes notes on the photograph of your palm as he's doing the reading. And frankly, I've seen some good palmists in the years and been impressed by lots of people, but nothing compares to what Dr. Pierce does. Seriously, I cannot say this enough, deeply enough. And he gets into the deep and intense, and he does it quickly. So this can be done at parties and it not take up too much time. But then when he gets through with his notes on the photograph, he emails it to them so they have that to take home with them. It's fabulous, absolutely fabulous. So anyway, we're updating our website as well with some different things. And I don't know what all Dr. Matthew has in store for us because he's our guru website person.
Well, we're just highlighting the services. I mean, taking and saying what these services like have to offer. You have some very, very unique services for the company. The KISS canvas, the KISS
Oh, I love that.
keepsake. I think it's a novel idea. I think that, uh, in the advent that we're now getting back together and into groups and things like that, the KISS keepsake just really, really gives you a nice memory to take away from the wedding or whatever event that you want to use it for.
So let me
So
explain
I
that
love
real
the idea of
quick.
the KISS keepsake.
I do too. So let me explain that real quick. So we have some really great wedding packages. We can come and do kiss readings. You kiss a card, we do a reading of the lips. While you're getting your photographs done as the bride and groom, this is something for your guests to be doing. But also, we can have them kiss a canvas that's been pre-printed with a nice quote on it and a nice little outline on the edges, and your guests can kiss it and autograph it, and you have a memento to take home from your wedding from your guests. So it's a nice little give me. And then Luann brings her oils, and we can do one of two things. We can pre-package a custom oil that the bride and groom have designed themselves and give them as a gift to the guests. What a great thing to do, because the guests are
Right.
there celebrating you, but you get to celebrate them by sharing something special. Or we can have them come to the table after they do their kiss reading, and they can do a custom oil of their own to have as a take home. So it's just a great thing to do. And that's not even counting the spa services that we can bring with
Right.
reflexology and massage and facials and all that for the wedding party beforehand or whatever. So seriously, we're the big dog. We're the big dog on this.
We do unique and different things
We do.
Very.
in many situations.
Well, and I just I want to point out, like, just as a real selling point here is that, we understand that, packages sometimes aren't one size fits all. So the nice thing about Miles with Smiles events is that, I mean, they're able to customize exactly what you need.
Yes.
And so it's just a matter of one or two conversations to get exactly what you want and what you need, and you have your own custom package, for your event. So.
You want to hear something sad? I just had to turn down a gig in Lubbock because I was already booked, and you guys are booked the next day. And so everybody on the team is booked the next day. So even if they could get to Lubbock that day, you wouldn't get
Yeah.
back in time to work your gig the next day. But that means that people are spreading the word and they're willing to pay for us to come because it's not cheap to pay for our travel and stuff. So we're moving up in the world. So I'm
Yay.
excited. I'm excited. I love this business. This is a paid hobby for me, and I love it. So. All right. Everybody say goodbye. We'll see y'all guys next week.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.